Diena, mėly klausytojai, dar kartelį šį kartą mūsų pašnekovas yra iš Microsoft Latvia. Mes pabandysim pašnekėti apie Sharepointą. Ir hello! How are you today?
I'm good.
Super. Can you introduce yourself for us?
So I'm Antons Mislēvičs. I'm a consultant for Microsoft Services. I work in Riga office. But we as consultants do travel a lot because we do engagements all around the region.
Okay. How many years you're Microsoft employee?
I'm Microsoft employee for 3.5, a little bit more.
Okay.
So I was a Sharepoint consultant for
So, like I said, your work specialization is Sharepoint.
Yes.
So, in last MCP club, we have a lot of feedbacks about Sharepoint. And not just how to install, properly configure Sharepoint, but showcases. Showcases about how Sharepoint can change all the organization and change all the organization workflow and so on and so on. If it's possible, can you maybe tell us about some cases you work with all over the world, I think, maybe in Latvia, maybe in Lithuania, maybe somewhere else, if it's possible, for sure. If it is not secure. Okay, so
from interesting projects that we did recently, mainly we are participating in large projects. So of course, because we are services,
we are like Microsoft.
Yeah, we're like Microsoft. We take large projects, and from latest projects, these were enterprise content management, web content management. We did e-government portal, for example, in Brunei, and it's near Malaysia, so it's far away. They were searching for architect and lead developer, and I was flying there. I spent 10 weeks and then 2 more weeks on site with local guys from Malaysia. They were developing the solution, but I was as an architect there and senior developer for them. So I was just lead developer. So I was just helping them to develop it proper way.
So, like I understand, you are not just IT pro and you're not just configuring and installing Sharepoint. As far as I understand, you can create some workflows, some developing for Sharepoint. So, can you speak about some cases and maybe have some tips for companies who want to start Sharepoint using in their organization, but they want to customize it. For example, some Sharepoint workflows. What the tools they should use to custom SharePoints and so on.
So I did today on TechDays. I did 2 sessions. I did one session best practices for deployment, another one best practices for development. So if you guys can find recordings of the session,
yes,
I highly recommend you to do this because I covered a lot of best practices there. But from our I think the main recommendation could be don't try to break the SharePoint and design architecture proper way. And this is what we as consultants do a lot. We usually start our engagements from doing so-called architecture design session. This is a session where we try to involve architects and subject matter experts on specific technologies from consulting, from Microsoft Consulting Services, from MCS. From customer side, we try to involve key business and technical decision makers. And then we try to involve also a partner who will be implementing this solution. And in this setup, we are discussing business requirements, technical requirements, use cases, and try to find out the best way how to implement this solution using SharePoint. And sometimes we see that maybe SharePoint is not the right technology, but it is very important decision. Don't try to break the platform, but understand that the platform has its own rules, and you need to adapt to these rules. And then you'll have successful deployment.
Yes, but can you maybe show the way, if IT pro, not developer, totally not developer, from what start? Maybe for reading some books, maybe reading TechNet, what IT pro should use to custom SharePoints? I'm speaking about workflows and some custom programs. Which IT pro needs to start from Microsoft Visual Studio and something like that. What he must do?
So we're talking specifically about workflows.
Yeah, no, it's let's just example, okay? If I think just for example.
Okay, so for IT Pro, typically IT Pro guys are not coding, so
Yes,
they're not
for sure,
familiar
for
with
sure.
Visual Studio. So first, what they should do, you should understand business requirements first. And an easiest way to do this, think about your SharePoint site, not as about site, but as about service for end users. For example, this is a service that will provide document management capabilities.
Yes.
Or this is a service to submit vacation requests. So this is a service. This is very important because when you start thinking about this as a service, then you may create a very good SharePoint site at the end. If you start thinking about this as a site, like let's create a site for marketing department, they'll store all their marketing materials there. You end up with one document library with subfolders because your end users do not know what SharePoint may give them. So you really need to start from something very structured and something which is a service which you may communicate to your end users. Now talking about custom development configuration. First, what is very important, don't do it through SharePoint design in production environment.
Okay.
You really need to have test environment, pre-production, production on a customer side. So and development of course. You do development in development environment, then you pack it somehow to WSP package. Usually this is how we do it. Then we write PowerShell scripts to the deployment, and then we run this script with WSP packages on test farm, then on pre-production, and then on production. This is how we do it. So it all should be automated. If you are not a developer, you're IT pro, and you have found some cool web part on the internet, you want to use it, and it's for free.
Yes, totally.
Important thing, deploy it as a sandbox. Because if it is a sandbox solution, and if it is a sandbox like web part at the end of the day, it will be executed in the sandbox, and even if it was like written purely, so it is a bad web part, it will not affect performance of your entire farm. Only the web part will break, but your farm and SharePoint itself will be working. So you as IT pro guy will be happy, and your boss will be happy with you.
So finally, it's possible. Yes, for IT Pro, it's possible. So you mentioned IT Sandbox. 5 minutes. Speaking of, can you describe what is Sandbox? Speaking about SharePoint 2010, for sure.
So what is Sandbox?
Yes.
Why all IT pro guys really love it? So the idea is that when you deploy a full trust solution, for example a DLL, then the code from this DLL is executed in IIS worker process, in W3, WP exec, in application pool. It is executed there. So if your code, for example, is something like while true do something, then all your process will be stuck and it will be reset after some time. So all your SharePoint will not work. If you do the same stuff with Sandbox, the code is not executed in IIS process, but it's executed on separate process, which is deployed on a like Sandbox worker process. It is started on the same machine or on some other machine. You may create like a separate farm of machines where all Sandbox code will be executed. So the code is not even using processor time and memory from your IIS process, because it is working on a separate machine. And then when this while true do something code is sent to the Sandbox, it is executing there, then it reaches a timeout, the process is killed, the process is recreated then, and the user says that SharePoint is working, but only this one web part has an error, and says like, sorry, it has timeout, bye. And so this is very important, that your customizations cannot affect how your SharePoint works. And another very important thing, if you deploy SharePoint in multi-tenant scenario, for example, you want to create site collection for department, and you want this department to manage this site collection. And for example, guys from marketing department say, you know, we've seen this cool web part on Coldplex, we want to use it. If it is a Sandbox web part, administrator for this site collection may go upload it and activate it. A Sandbox solution, sorry, web part and Sandbox solution. You may download the Sandbox solution, upload it to your site collection, activate it there, and they will not call you and say, dear farm administrator, please install it.
Yeah, so right now it's, speaking about 2010, SharePoint 2010, it's much easier to install some new features for IT pros using Sandbox solutions and so on, so on, so on. So, Anton, thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and have a good time this evening right now. So thank you again. Bye.
Bye.